Pot.
I love that sound.
How much is that?
670.
How much does he have behind?
1,000.
1,000? Repot.
Oh.
Just a radiant princess in my radiance. The way you oscillate in my mind within circadian rhythms and time. You must be alien with angel eyes, otherworldly presence who presently is so alive. Melodic goddess, forever modest, beautifully honest. I must be on it, cause maybe baby you just a sonnet. Super intelligent, you is the fifth element. Diligent, superstar, supernova, sky messages telling me when your mother was heavy with your pregnancy, she was visited by heavily.
Hi guys, Alphabet Poker here. Tonight, I'm covering a session that I played in Williamsburg, Brooklyn. It's a pretty wild mix of no limit, PLO, drama ha, baseball, and basically whatever the table felt like calling that night. The game's super deep and there's a lot of action, so we get into some pretty ridiculous spots. And let's get into the first hand. In the first interesting hand of note, we look down at ace-9 offsuit on the $5 straddle. Our opponent here is going to make it 15, folds back to us, and we just make the smooth call. I normally might 3-bet a hand like this on the button, but I'm just getting used to the table. Flop comes ace-ace-8 rainbow, and villain's actually going to lead out here for $10. I don't really see a merit in raising right now, so I'm just going to smooth call and let him do whatever he wants. And I didn't think we would need it, but the turn is a 9 giving us top boat. This time he checks it over to me, and I want to keep all of his bluffs in, so I just check it back so that he can have some more rope. River comes the 5 of hearts, giving hands that were semi-bluffing on the turn like 6-7 a straight. And then he starts reaching for chips, betting out 65. I'm just praying that he actually made a straight now so that we can cooler him, because our hand is pretty underrepresented here. I check raise to 200 and he snap mucks queen high face up. He told me he just wanted to go for the vlog bluff. In the next orbit, we look down at 7-8 of spades, and we're up against a $10 open, which we call. Flop gives us a pair of 8s, and the flop checks around. Turn brings another ace, and at this point I feel like my hand is good enough to bet, so I lead out for 15. Seat 9 is going to fold and seat 1 is going to call, and the river is going to bring an inconsequential 9. And now what's interesting is seat 1 is going to lead out here for $30. It's not that much to call, it's only around half pot. I don't think about it, I flick in a call, and surprisingly he shows ace king. I just make a mental note that this guy's an OMC. In the next shuffle, we look down at king 5 of diamonds. There's a $10 open, a call, and I call as well. I checked in the dark, and it feels pretty good to flop top pair on king 10-6 rainbow. I'd still be careful in a spot like this because we can easily be dominated. There's a bet for $20, someone else folds, we call, and heads up to a turn. The turn's a 4 of spades, putting a flush draw on the board. I want to start charging for draws right now, and go for super thin value against any hand containing a 10. I bet 30 for about 1/3 pot, and he calls. The river's a 5 of spades, and in hindsight, I really hate this card. I didn't hate it in the moment, but looking back now, it brought in every single straight draw and flush draw that he could have had. In the moment, I was just thinking I could cooler hands like 10-6, 10-4, 4-5, and maybe 5-6. I ended up picking a super greedy sizing of 240 on the river. Looking back, I think this overbet might have gotten a weak king like king jack to fold. Here there's a $10 open, we look down at ace 5 offsuit, and we're going to 3-bet it up to $30. We get 2 callers, and we go 3 ways to a flop. I would say 9-3 deuce, 2 spades is about as good as a flop as we can ask for now. This board's good for both my perceived range and my exact hand, so I start to rep a bunch of overpairs, but I do have some backdoor equity. I bet out for 50, and a tight player on the button calls. The 6 of spades is definitely a welcome sight, so I want to continue telling the story that I have a lot of overpairs as well as the ace of spades, and possibly already a mate flush. I bet out 130 here, trying to get some fold equity, as well as naming my price to draw. Instead, my opponent has different plans, and he decides to jam all in. I think the math might be a little bit off, and in theory we might have to fold this hand, but I think my draw is just way too pretty. So I stick it in, and we make the flush on the first board, and we break out on the second board, so we end up chopping here. What really surprised me was when he turned over 9-10 for top pair. He probably smelled through my turn bet and just wanted me to commit my stack, but it was a good outcome nonetheless. Okay, get ready for this one because this hand is definitely a punt. There's a few more later in the night, but this is first of many. There's a raise from under the gun and then a 3-bet from the middle position player, and seeing all this dead money out there, I called 4-bet in the cutoff to $90. You shouldn't do this against an under the gun open and definitely not over a 3-bet. Gets back to a limper, which I didn't expect, but he jams all in here. This is definitely a guy you would consider an action player. He was showing me bluffs, and he openly told me that he wanted to bluff me on the vlog, so it definitely swayed my decision. Another thought I had was I could be flipping with deuces through fours, and the 7 deuce game is on. At the time, I thought that incentivized him to go for it. I already know that I'm not getting the right odds to call. This is a terrible play from start to finish, and I should just let go of my hand right now. Unfortunately, past me has other ideas and decides to call it off, thinking it's good for the game. I make the wrong decision, I'm gonna look like a complete dumbass, and I have
on the
vlog. That's the worst part. I know.
Go. I have a pair.
Big?
Not a pair. We're flipping.
We're not flipping.
Oh, you have a pair?
No.
Oh.
A bad hand. And so he shows pocket nines. We're way behind. We ask for twice, and he obliges. The first board actually gives us a gutter, and no surprise there, we brick out. And to add insult to injury, there's a 4 right behind the 5, so, you know, we were pretty close. There's another gutter here, and yep, we brick out. There goes bullet number 1, so we're reloading for another 500 for bullet number 2. As soon as I'm buying in again, I just think to myself, how did I mess up this bad? I mean, this was just an atrocious hand. Good news is, it's a home game, so there's still action to come. The next interesting hand comes in the form of 10-6, 4 deuce, diamonds and spades in a PLO hand that we play. We kick it on up to $10 and get 3 other callers, so we're 4 ways to a flop, where we flop a flush. So pretty low flush, 4 high flush, but I don't feel like slow playing anything. I go ahead and lead for $30, and only our lovely nemesis makes the call. Heads up to the turn, which is the deuce of clubs, and pretty big brick for me, so I just go ahead and bet 50, and he folds. Here we open ace-queen offsuit to $25, and we get 1 caller, straight to a flop of 10-7 deuce. There's front door hearts out there, and our opponent goes ahead and bets to the tune of $35. I see no reason to shy away, I float, and turn brings us immediate gratification with an ace. I take the lead here by betting out for 70, and villain snapmucks. Okay, there's going to be punt number 2, where we open 10 deuce of diamonds, get 3 callers, and go to a flop of queen 10-3 with 2 spades. I check, the hijack checks, and then the button goes ahead and bets $15. I call, and so does the hijack. Everyone's having a great time at the table. I have no idea what I'm doing in this hand, and I'm hanging on with second pair in a 3-way pot. Turn is another queen. I check again, just trying to get to showdown. Hijack checks, and then the button is now going to bet $50. If we look backwards on my mistakes, this is definitely not a hand that you should be raising first in, or calling a flop bet, or calling this turn bet. But I call 50, and the hijack folds. River comes the 5 of spades. I have no idea what I'm doing in this hand, so I check, and I want to evaluate what he does. Looking at the footage, I really hate the way I played this hand because you could just tell I was on autopilot and telegraphing my hand strength. Not to mention, I was also giving action to a player that I haven't really seen get out of line yet. He bets 175, and I try to muscle him out by just shoving all in, and it backfires completely. He's got queen 3 for a full house, and I ran straight into it when I didn't have to. In game I told him I had a flush, but I was just trying to save my own face, so I'm sorry if you're watching this. At this point, I know I'm punting pretty hard. Alright, third bullet time. I'm steaming. I feel like I'm about to get into a big hole, and I have to claw my way out now. I feel like I'm going to bluff my way through the next pot until I actually look down at pocket queens right after. This is the point of the night now where everybody is comfortable with each other, there's a lot of table talk, and stacks are starting to fly. More bomb pots are getting played, and a lot more bluffs are starting to get shown. The table's really starting to loosen up. There's a raise to 15 by the action player, followed by a call, and I elect a 3-bet to 80, but unfortunately, there's no biters. At 3 AM, the game becomes uncapped, so I top up for 1500, leaving my stack at 1900. We have work to do. Blinds are now also 2-5. After adding on, we peel pocket 4s and raise it to $20. The button then 3-bets us to 80. I'm stuck, I'm tilted, I want to set mine, and I want to potentially stack somebody, so I make the call. I'm praying to God at this point for a 4 in the window. Jack 9-5 rainbow doesn't look like flopping a set, so I check it on over to him. I'm fully ready to give up on this hand because I haven't seen him get out of line until he grabs those chips in that fashion. I couldn't explain it, but the way he grabbed it just smelled like ace king, so I make the call. The turn's an 8 of spades, bringing in multiple straight draws and adding a flush draw to the board. I was being very sticky with this hand. I think it's okay to fold pre-flop. Button checks it back. We get a free river. When the river comes to 7 of spades, I actually get some very evil intentions. If his range is capped to a lot of overpairs, then we have all the straights and flushes available to us. From pre-flop to here, it looks like a premium holding, maybe even top set, that check back turn for pot control and now has a shitty river. He tanks for 3 minutes and then flashes me an ace. I don't know if he had pocket aces or if he was trying to call with ace high, but afterwards he kept asking me if I had a pair at all, so I think we were just bluffing with the best hand here. This actually ended up making him not so happy.
I was good.
King?
Were you bluffing?
King?
I was bluffing, but I figured
But you were good.
But I
Okay.
figured
I think you were bluffing.
I figured you had ace
Fucking knew you were
king.
bluffing.
I figured you had ace king, so I was like, I want him to call with ace high, and then if he has aces, then
I should have gone all in.
35.
that would have been gutsy. That would have been
You're
gutsy.
folding all five.
Probably.
Yeah, I think I definitely tilted seat 5 at this point. He wasn't very happy that I was bluffing either with the best hand or not, but we'll get into another pot with him later on. Seat 5 ends up continuously talking about this hand for the next 4 minutes, and I'm not really sure what he's trying to accomplish out of it. It just seems like he was super irritated, but anyways, we pill 7 deuce, and of course I have to go for it here. I'll just let you listen to some of the audio.
I'll put it on the vlog. I had a pair. I had a pocket pair.
Yeah, exactly.
But I turned my hand into a bluff.
Anyways, there's a $10 straddle and a call, and I raise it up to $75.
Movie time.
Only the action player calls, and we go heads up to a flop of Jack 7-8 rainbow. I check to him, knowing likely he's going to try to stab at this pot, and so he does for a bet of 50. I quickly call. This is the only player that I call with third pair, and the turn brings a board pairing 8.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm not ready to let go of my hand just yet. I feel like it's going to be really funny to show it down, so I'm just going to check here. He actually checks back. I check again on the river, which is a blank 3 of clubs. I think he knows that he's also run out of rope, so ultimately, he checks it back as well, announcing he has ace king.
I need $10 to get this one.
7 deuce?
I need $10.
Oh,
I need $10.
7 deuce.
Ace king no good.
It's counting you.
In the very next shuffle, we're in the $10 straddle. There's an open to 35, followed by a call. We look down at ace jack of clubs, and it's a good candidate to 3-bet here. I just want to take down the dead money right now, so I kick it up to 135. And it looks like that did the job, so $70 in uncontested dead money. Awesome, we're chipping up. We start running pretty hot when immediately after we look down at pocket queens. I'm in the big blind, there's an under the gun straddle to 10 and then a raise to 35. Price of poker is going up to 150. Only under the gun makes the call, so we're heads up to a flop. Our opponent in this hand is the game runner, and I could tell he was giving me some light action. Board comes ace high, which isn't my favorite. I down bet to a quarter pot and he folds. A bunch of these small wins are giving me momentum and confidence. In this hand, there's a $10 straddle, we look down at ace 6 of diamonds, there's a $30 raise, and we complete. Straddler also completes. 3 ways to a flop of 10-6-4 rainbow. Straddler checks, initial raiser checks, and I bet out for 30. What's interesting is now the straddler raises to 100 and the initial raiser gets out of the way. Like I said in previous hands, I'm happy to give action. I like this player, and we've been having banter all night, and I think he just raised with nothing, so we stick in the call. The turn's another 6, giving us trips, and I think I got too excited this hand because I think the villain could bluff again on the river. I should have just smooth called, but in the moment I wanted to get as much money in as possible. He bets out for 175 here, and I make a mistake. I raise it up pretty big. Like I said, in the moment, I feel like I just wanted to get the money in if he had like ace 10 for top pair, but he was bluffing the whole way.
Caught him speeding. I'll show you.
Wow. Lucky guy.
Maybe I could have let him bluff river there, but it feels good to win a nice pot. We've now got 2,500 in our stack, and we're still in the hole for about 500. Okay, get ready, because this is the most interesting hand of the night. I still don't know how to think about this hand, so let me know what you guys think. We look down at Queen 10-10-5 single suit on a PLO double board bomb pot, where we flop top set on one board and we have an up and down straight draw on the other. There's a bet for 40 and then seat 1 calls. I think about it for a second, and I want to get as much money in as I can right now, so I make it 150. After some deliberation, and to my surprise, the original bettor actually makes the call here. Well, I didn't see that coming. Seat 9 now just repots it for about 675. Well, I'm definitely not folding the nuts on one board, and we can still draw to the nuts on the second board. If he wants to see 4 more cards, he has to pay. 1,000? Repot.
It's all in basically 670. 1900 something. So
Seat 7's gonna eventually fold after a tank, but in the middle of it, he says he folded a set, which really annoys me here. It gives Seat 9 a lot of valuable information on the holdings that I could have, but I'm a guest in this game and I don't really want to make a stink about it, and I also like playing with everyone here, so it didn't really bother me that much.
it's on you. It's all on you.
I need a
During a 4-minute tank, I'm starting to realize that I have him crushed on at least one board and he's likely weak on another board. I'm rooting for a call, but I'm also okay with forcing the money to go in now rather than seeing any action killing turn cards or cards that could improve him if I just flat.
Can I change the runouts? I don't want to hurt two people.
So he ended up showing a set of 6s on one board, which we had him crushed on, and top pair for the other board. And just for fun, we rabbit hunt, and I would have held on both boards. So yeah, I could have scooped a huge pot, but it was friendly vibes, and I think ultimately this was the best decision for everyone.
Okay, well, both aces came out. I made the nuts on both. I have the nuts.
Even if you need how much percent you need to have?
After that pot, we're now sitting at 3.3k, and we're actually up for the night for about $300. The next big hand comes when we look at Queen 7 of spades, call an open, and go 4 ways to a flop of Queen 7 ace. Drilling 2 pair on the flop is awesome, and I check to induce a bet, but what's not awesome is it checking around and going to a free turn. Turns an offsuit 8, I feel like I still have the best hand, so I just lead out for 50 and we get a call. The 6 of hearts river brings in straights that floated the flop and turn, such as 9-10. For some reason, I still try to go for value by betting 150. To my surprise, I actually get raised to 500. I think initially this is one of those textbook spots where you can try to go for thin value, and if you get raised, you can simply fold the river. But again, we're playing a short-handed home game. I felt like he was too loose, and I feel like he almost wanted revenge for the last time I bluffed him, so I thought he was making a move here. Well, we side call, and he's got ace 8 for a turn 2 pair that's better than me. Don't worry, in this hand, we get our get back here. We're playing Draw Maha, and this is my first time playing Draw Maha, so I'm learning as I go. To those of you that don't know how to play Draw Maha, you basically play one hand of video poker in your hand, and use 4 cards to play a PLO hand on the board. I quickly figured out this is probably going to be a game of a lot of chopping because you can beat someone on the board and lose to them in the hand. However, when I get dealt a flush with ace king queen 7-8 all spades, and flop top pair top kicker on the board, I think we're not going to chop this hand. I start out with a pot size bet of 50, and I quickly get called. What's interesting now is after a round of betting, you can discard up to 3 cards, and if you ask for 1 card, you get it dealt face up, and you can reject it and get a card face down. I actually think it's pretty interesting that my opponent rejected the king that was given to them, despite it being top pair on the board, which leads me to believe that they have a strong video poker hand. I don't see any reason to draw another card, so I stand pat with my flush. The button also calls 50 and takes another card. The turn 10 of spades gives us a bajillion more outs in the form of the nut flush draw and an open-ended straight now, and we're also drawing to the nut straight. For that reason, I go ahead and bet 200, and the player on my left calls. Heads up to a board pairing 4 on the river, and at this point we've got the nut flush in our hands, and we've got top pair top kicker on the board, so I just grab a stack full of black chips for a $600 bet and get snap called. We end up coolering his flush of queen 10 8 9 5 all clubs, and I think I could have got more money actually. I was also pretty surprised to win the board with just top pair top kicker. Cherry on top is, as I'm stacking my chips and I'm getting dealt in, we take a look down at, once again, the beautiful ladies. Folds to us on the button, we bump it up to $20, and our customer is the same opponent from last hand. He makes the call and we go heads up to a flop of 3-6-4 rainbow. I bet 75 and he tank calls. The turn's a 7, which brings 4 to a straight with a gutter, but I'm still not scared to bet my queens, so this time I like to bet 125. I guess he doesn't have much, so he just mucks. And I also show him because he's the host of the game and I want to let him know how hot I'm running.
Look at that.
I believe you.
Come on. For the vlog.
For the vlog. You cannot lie to the vlog. Show it to him. Show the vlog.
As a motherfucker, go 3D face other.
Would that have you have the vlog?
Sure.
Can we do drama?
Sure.
Go ahead, guys.
Let's do drama.
Is that like this one?
And it definitely wouldn't be a degenerate home game without some flipping at the end. How about some $100 hands of baseball? In this game, you get dealt 10 cards, 9s and 3s are all wilds, and any 4 means you get to draw another card. One player starts by turning a card face up, and then the other player has to keep flipping cards until they can beat that opponent's cards.
This one's not no. No, but I have
You have a quad.
no, I have full outs.
You have quad?
I quad, sorry, I quad first.
We really
Quad
have
paint. No, you have royal outs.
Yeah.
You still have a lot of cards.
That's a roll. Oh, hold on.
No, you have more royal outs. Now you have
Quad.
royal.
Wait,
now you
You
have
have
royal.
the roll.
Okay, no,
No,
you have
sorry,
royal.
sorry. We can chop, right?
That's another card.
So right now you got
I have a kind of.
showing.
I can also have royals still.
Yeah.
Somehow.
Yeah.
Not good. Not good. You win.
GG.
Okay, another one.
Sure.
You want that?
I gotta catch one of you guys later.
That's the last one.
Last one, last one. Quick.
We win the first one with the royal, and I'm always happy to run it back.
Yeah. Sorry. Yeah, it might be coming. Yeah.
Okay, this one you start.
Go ahead.
I have to beat 4. Then 6.
Okay. Sure. Jack eye.
This.
Jack eye with 6.
I win.
Keep going. Jack eye with 9.
Jacks.
Oh no, give Jacks. Give her Jacks.
No shit. Jets.
Jack with 6. Jack with 6.
Yeah, I can win. You have royal outs.
I don't know if it's
No, he doesn't.
okay.
Other
Another
card.
card.
How much is
So still the Jackson 4 race here. Your Jackson 6 still winning.
Jackson 9.
Jackson 9.
Go straight.
You have Jack full force.
Yeah, I can win.
Jack full force winning right now.
Okay, I have jacks full of 6s.
Can you double count this size?
I think you might win.
Oh, you still have a lot to go. You have royal
3-5.
outs.
Now you have Jack full 10s.
You have quads.
Oh,
Not 10s.
shit.
Oh, you got 4 10s. But
I have quad jacks.
Oh, Jack, he wins.
It's not yet over.
Sorry.
You don't understand. This is the last part's not over.
There's 2 cards.
doesn't matter. Now you have 5.
Okay,
Yeah,
what do I need?
Yeah, you can still have
Switch,
three
switch,
quads.
yeah, you can roll
If you get another card, you get another card. Look, you get any more. You have 3 cards, 3 4s.
1920.
That's not good.
Nice.
It's more outs. You have more outs.
That's one.
Oh, that's
Yeah,
yeah.
you do.
That's
Oh.
5 again, or
It's straight flush. Straight flush. You have no.
let's see.
Yeah, straight flush.
King, queen.
No, once again, no, you can't. That's what do you have? You have 5 of
5
kind.
kind.
You can get a straight flush like this 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. You got 4 high straight flush. 8 high straight flush.
Is rarer than one of the most.
So 5 again, or
Is that
go 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 times.
But I want to play 5 of kind.
Right.
right?
Yeah, 5 kind beats are pretty sure.
No, 5 kinds doesn't do the royal.
But it's straight flush, it's straight flush. Or yeah, get 5 again. Just go to 5 again. 10, 10, 10, 10, 10, 5 again, or
That's I said 5 of
okay,
kind.
sorry.
He
He beats me.
straight up.
Straight up. Pay him.
Waiting for that one.
That's going to wrap up the session. We are in the game for 3,000, out for 35.60 for a profit of 560. We played for about 5 hours and 20 minutes, which works out to be 52 big blinds an hour, or just over $100 an hour. I also want to give a huge shout out to the owners of the Williamsburg Card Club and everyone I played with for having me. They're super chill and welcoming, and they let me film the whole game, and it had a great atmosphere. I had a ton of fun playing with everybody. I hope I get the chance to come back and play some more. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.